Hey guys, it's Wayne from Australian Earth Moving, and I'm really excited to be doing another live cross today with Phil Shepley from Mecalac Australia. You may recall we recently looked at their MCR machine, which is a mega skid steer excavator, but it's its own thing, and I'll put the link for that video below. But that's a very, very cool machine. Today though, I'm even more excited because site dumpers were a game changer on construction sites probably a decade ago, and Mecalac have just really upped the ante again. Phil, how are you, mate?
Hey, how are you, Wayne? Good to see you, mate. Excited for this one. It's been a few years in the works, but yeah, glad to bring this into Australia now.
It's great to see you, and hey, it's always good to see you, but behind you is what I want to talk about. The Revotruck. The Revotruck. So tell me, it's been a few years in the making. Site dumpers have been around for, I would say they're relatively new, you know, in the grand scheme of things.
In Australia, yes. In Europe and the UK, very popular for many years. If you have an excavator, you have a site dumper over there. Here, if you have an excavator, you have a track loader. So site dumpers are starting to become much more popular in Australia, especially in the last 10 years, where we notoriously use a track loader to transport material on the job site. It's becoming a lot more efficient, especially with excavators running tilt rotators now, and we're just thinking about things a little bit different like they do in Europe, and site dumpers are coming into their own. Most site dumpers on the market are open canopy and doesn't really work in hot Australia here. So aircon cab dumpers in the last few years are really becoming a must, and a big push on that is safety. So if you're forward facing, you can't really see over in front of the skip, and you're always turning your head back, trying to see where you're going when you're reversing. So the dual view's been around for a few years, but we have a few more advances on that, where it becomes a complete philosophy of a new machine. So much better stability, safety, and productivity.
Yeah, from what I've read, and I haven't seen one, that's why we're doing this cross. These are really top notch, and I remember, I'm not sure, was it Barford that came out with the first ones, and then I've seen Thwaites, Wacker Neuson have done one, and you know they're all pretty good machines, or they have been pretty good machines. Like you say, open cabs, and
yes.
they weren't seen as restrictions before, but.
Yeah, you say Barford about first. Yeah, the Barford is in our heritage with these dumpers. We acquired the Terex department of dumpers, backhoes, and rollers, who acquired that from Barford on the dumpers. So this is the revolution of the Barford dumper. So the old reliable, you can see them just in the background behind this Revotruck there, the TA6. So that's as it was with the Terex dumper. So they're fairly much untouched, and we still sell them in good numbers. Nice, simple fold down ROPS. But you know, in Australia we want aircon, and this revolving cab concept is really taking off, where you've got much better safety and visibility of what you're doing. So it's not just forward and then turn around and backwards. We can see what we're doing, any position as we're rotated, and travel at the same time. So really good visibility on the machines. But yeah, evolution of the Barford, you know, back in I think it's the 80s when they first started.
Right, yeah. Like I remember, they were a good solid machine. You look back now, sure, they're not a shadow on this, and that's. You know, I think people are already sold on site dumpers. We know what they do. We know how much faster they make the job site, you know, efficient and so forth. What I want to focus on with this is the front end of the machine, because you're right. You know, the safety is a massive thing, and cabs, that's relatively new. It seems painfully obvious, you know, all the benefits.
Yeah, like an excavator now, you won't find an 8-ton excavator without an aircon cab, and you know, these machines are in a similar position on a work site. So the demand for the open canopy is quite low compared to the aircon cab now. And as you touched on safety, the old Barford, you know, articulated chassis concept, fantastic, but has a safety concern with stability. So when we're turning with an articulated site dumper, especially with a full load, you have to be quite careful on what angle you're on. If you're on a steep angle, you can go over. A lot of the modern machines have warnings and tip angle sensors in them now to try to indicate that, but it doesn't get away from the problem of it being unstable when turning. So the four-wheel steering that you can see here, rather than the chassis articulating, you can see that the four-wheel steering, similar to a wheeled excavator, that creates the ultimate stability. So no matter whether we're going straight or turning at full angle, the center of gravity stays in the center of the machine, so we don't lose stability while we're turning.
Right, and that's got to make it faster getting from location A to B as well, like with that better chassis, would you?
For sure. Yep. Yeah, and some of the other dual directional, dual view dumpers, you can turn the seat inside the cab. So when you're dumping, you turned around, you're dumping, you bring your skip back, you turn the seat back around and off you drive. And it's a bit sequential, it's one after the other. The advantage on the Revotruck is we can travel, facing the skip, get to what we want to do, rotate around the side so we can see our work area, turn the skip, dump the dirt. And as soon as we finish dumping the dirt, we just hold a return to home button on the joystick, and the skip will take care of itself. The cab rotates around and we're facing forwards and off we go. And the skip's, bringing itself home as we're traveling. So now we're traveling along, we're set up, we dump and we start traveling again. So that cycle time significantly increased, but so is the safety. So our visibility is always where we're traveling. So we're not sitting there waiting, but we're also not, reversing while the skip's coming down and we can't see what's happening. So we let the skip take care of itself. So we don't need to have our eyes on that. We have our eyes on the road and who's in front of us. So we can reduce those worksite accidents.
I'm getting an understanding of the cab. I'm sure I can, but are you going to jump in the cab and show me?
Sure. Yeah. So
give me a demo. Show me what it's got. Have you got the keys on you?
I'll talk you through it. So I'll talk you through while we're operating.
I need a camera in the cab. We'll
get onto that. I'll get you some footage we'll get you some footage in here, but good for you to see what it does on the outside as well.
Okay.
So I've turned it on, engine's running now. I'm sitting in the seatbelt on.
Yep.
And you can see on the cab that we've got our flashing lights. We've actually got one on each corner, the orange lights, one on each corner instead of a beacon on top.
Yep.
So our visibility is 360 degrees. But we don't have the light on top. So it's just another thing, get that overall height down, but also get rid of the chance of that getting damaged anyway.
Sure.
So that's a great little simple addition. Then we've got the green light flashing, which is just to show that the operator's seatbelt is on. It's very popular in Europe. We don't seem to do it much here, but it works really well with the machine. So now I want to face the skip. So I've got a slide switch. All I do is press the slide switch on the joystick and I'm coming around. Now I'm facing what I'm doing. So I can really easily now, if I want to forward tip, I can forward tip, and then of course I can swivel around.
That is so cool.
So now, what I'm looking at straight in front of myself is the side of a skip. So if I want to have a look, I'm leaning out and over. So instead of that, we just swivel swivel around like this, and I can see exactly what I want to do. I can travel like this as well. So, let's say I want to just go forwards or backwards. I can backfill into the side of a trench whenever I want. Let's say I've finished dumping my dirt now, and I want to start traveling back and get the next load. Yep. There's a button on the same joystick, so your hand stays on one joystick and your other hand stays on the steering wheel. So all I do is hold a button on the joystick and that skip is moving by itself. So as that skip is moving, I can rotate the cab around, and now that I'm facing this direction, I can start traveling. So off I go and get some more dirt. As I'm traveling around, if I'm going to be coming back and I need to face what I'm doing, it's quick and easy just to move around. So now I can start traveling this direction. And how's
visibility from there where you're sitting?
Oh, fantastic. So I can see 180 degrees. Wherever my eyes can see, I can see out of the glass. There's a lot of glass,
The
visibility, and we're nice and low, and there's not anything in front of us, so I can see down. I can see my tires, so I can see which direction I'm pointing, and like I say, we can rotate around, same as the other direction. So if we go around the other way, then I can see what I'm doing on this side as well. The cab, as I rotate, I hold the slide switch and it comes back and it stops at the center point. So you don't need to try to line it up. It's just automatic and it'll stop. If I want to keep moving, I just move the slide switch again.
What a
So
cool
I come
thing.
like this, all the way around, and same thing, it just stops at 90 degrees for you. So
Right.
same as the skip here. I'm holding a button, I don't even need to look at it. I'm looking forwards and I start going. The skip knows where it's positioned and it'll bring itself to the center and then start lowering down. So I'm facing forwards, looking, making sure I'm not running over anything I'm not supposed to while the skip is sorting itself out. So that's the basis to it. It's as simple as that for operating. It's you know, you're forward and neutral on your joystick on buttons, slide switch for the cab, and that's it.
That is awesome. Reverse it back another 2 meters so you're in the shot.
Hang on, there we go. Cut that out.
Yeah, I want to be able to see it.
I didn't have the door
It's a good
shut
looking machine.
properly.
That shouldn't matter. It's all about function, but
So 4-wheel steering, I can show you this now. So I'm turned at full turning angle. So if I'm going to come towards you, it turns on a dime. So, you know, we're going to be able to turn around straight into you. And I'm around on the spot.
get out.
And then of course we've got the 4-wheel steering. So we can crab across. So we bring around, the wheels have to go to the center, just like a normal wheel excavator.
Yep.
And now I can crab across. So I can crab this way, and then let's say I want to crab backwards as well to shift over. We're just crabbing as we go across. So crab steer, you won't use it that often, but it's there for when you do need to use it. But most of the time, like I say, you'll be in 4-wheel steer. And of course, when you're on the road, we want 2-wheel steer. So there's a road mode for that. Very, very easy for the operator to decide what he wants to do. You go to road mode and off you go.
And like obviously, you know, you've spent a bit of time on them, but it's all fairly intuitive.
Not too much. You know, I've done a little bit, of course, but it's you barely need to. Of course, you should always read your operator's manual, but you barely need to. Everything's shown, and I'll show you some footage of the screen, but we have a picture of the Revotruck on the screen, and on here you can see your different options. It's a touch screen, and then the all your functional buttons are on the joystick. So your hand, you don't need to look at what you're pressing. It's all within your finger reach. So your eyes are looking out the front window at where you're traveling the whole time.
So cool. And creature comforts. You've got aircon. You mentioned that before.
Yeah, of course. Aircon's a good system. So developed from the beginning with Australia and America in mind. So not a half system like some of the machines have coming out of Europe, and a lot of those machines have their aircons worked out now. You know, there's no point building a machine now that doesn't have a good aircon. They're going to get sold around the world, no matter where they go. You need a good aircon system. So from the beginning, the aircon's fantastic, and it's a massive cab. There's plenty of space in there for any size operator. It's an air suspension seat as standard, and it slides on sliders, and the control panel slides backwards and forwards as well, so that we don't get any arm crampage over a long day.
Stereo. I don't know, like Bluetooth. Tell me what other.
Yep, Bluetooth, of course, stereo, all just done through the main screen, and it has radio on. You get a call, it'll pause the radio, of course. Yeah, just the modern things that we all come to expect in machines these days.
Yeah, there was a few things there that I did not expect. So yeah, I was more impressed with the cab, because there's no other site dumper with a full rotating cab quite like that.
Yes, for sure.
So that's what I wanted to talk about today, and it's more about that 4-wheel steering and the stability, and which I suppose is what you're buying it for, isn't it? The practical purposes, the efficiency.
Yeah, for sure. So yes, you're more efficient than a normal site dumper, which is why we call it a Revotruck. You know, trying to get out of the site dumper mold a little bit, because it's definitely a new evolution in the product. So the ability to be looking exactly where you're working, and also go a little bit further than a normal site dumper. So the off-road ability with that 4-wheel steering and the articulation should definitely work wonders in our terrain in Australia.
Yeah. Tell me about the base, the 4-wheel steering. and the stability of it and the advantages?
So four-wheel steering, there's quite a few advantages. The first one is the turning circle. So we're half the turning circle of an articulated dumper. So if it takes, say, 6 meters to turn around in articulated, we're 3 meters. So it's almost like on a penny, you can just turn around. So that's four-wheel steering. Of course, you can still two-wheel steer for when you're on the road. So in road mode, and then we've got crab steer. So if you're over top of a trench and you're dumping a little bit, too far away from the trench, in four-wheel steering, you can just steer back a bit, and in parallel, you can move back a little bit from the trench and keep continuing. So crab steering can be quite useful in the right application, but most of the time you'll just run it in four-wheel steering. So four-wheel steering in itself is fantastic, but also stability is a lot better, because on an articulated machine, when you turn, your center of gravity moves outside of the wheelbase. So when you're on a slight angle, that's where we get the problem with site dumpers being able to tip too easy, is on a bit of an angle, and then the operator turns and then over it goes. So modern machines have tip sensors fitted to alert of this, but it doesn't get rid of that, the physics of it. It's still the geometry of the machine. With four-wheel steering, that doesn't happen at all. The center of gravity stays directly in the middle of the machine. So as we're on an angle, if we turn, we don't lose any stability. We don't start to tip. So increased stability, increased turning circle, and then our off-road ability. So we still have in the center, we have an oscillation joint, which allows the two chassis to twist with each other. Right. So we can still get plenty of flex and movement, so that we don't pick a wheel off the ground. And the other advantages are that we leave the center of the machine available for packaging. So we don't have to leave that center for the pivot point now. This is why we can move the engine between the skip and the cab, which allows us to bring the cab down a lot. So compared to other aircon cab multi-view machines, we're 500 mil less overall height. So wow. We're under 3 meters on the road, which means similar to like a normal excavator, you can put this up on a tray, no problems at all. Whereas with some of the other options on the market, your height is a problem, so you have to be on a drop deck to transport them. So this can go on anything for transport, no problems. We're within gauge, clearly, within 100 mil of our travel limit, so there's no problem with our transport sizes. That's a huge advantage for getting them to and from site. Yes. And allowing to have the engine in the center. The engine's quite low, it's behind our wheels, so the engine and the weight is all down in low, which again helps with our stability. So, okay, there's always a trade-off. I can see, it looks more stable. Like, I shouldn't say more stable, I can see that it's lower. How do you go with ground clearance though? What's the trade-off there? There's no trade-off on ground clearance either. So similar diff housings as you have on a normal site dumper. So of course trade-off usually is it's more expensive components, but price-wise in the market, the Revotruck is really competitively priced. So right. The cost associated with the four-wheel steering is quite minimal actually when you compare to a standard machine. So that. I wasn't really going to touch on price comparison because there's not, from what I can see, my research, there's not too many comparative machines. So no, there's nothing else on the market at all that can do this. Not yet, anyway. Not that we've seen coming. So revolving cabs are being played with, but not coupling with four-wheel steering, and the whole advantage of getting that cab down low is huge. Not only access for the operator, we don't have to go another step again to get up, so we're lower to the ground, our visibility is better throughout the whole cab, and rotating the cab, our visibility is amazing. But price-wise, yeah, it's really well priced. It's on the market. You can't really bring it's like bringing a there's more technology coming in every product in the market, but we're quite conscious of keeping it where a site dumper needs to be priced. So, site dumpers back in the day were square boxes with open ROPs and priced accordingly. And as we evolve in the market, we go to aircon cab and then an aircon cab with rotating and everything. And it all just gets more expensive. And really the other products on the market have paved the way for the market, saying, look, this is the technology that we want. And this is the price bracket that they're in, and it's really left the door open to produce a much more advanced machine that is really simple and easy to use. So it's not like it's complicated. Anybody jumps in it, drives it. Everything moves around. It's all on one joystick, and you don't have to be, using your legs to turn the seat around. So there's definitely no strain for the operator.
So
that's the focus for this machine.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the whole point, particularly of the cab. I know they had, swivel seats. That's not a new thing. Is it the Wacker is the only one I can think of that's got a rotating cab, and even that, it's not full rotating.
Yeah, the Wacker only have it on a 3.5 ton at the moment for the rotating cab, but it's just on top of a standard articulating machine. The Wacker have the swivel seats in the dual view,
Right.
but a couple other brands are bringing the swivel seat concept as well. It's in demand for the customer base. They want the safety of having the dual view, and it's been pushed really, really strong in the market for its safety advantages. And this machine takes that step a bit further. So the visibility is not just dual view where it's front and backwards view. We've got full view with the cab, and we can move and operate in any angle. So it's more like sitting in a nice excavator cab where you've got this ability to turn around and face where you're working. We're just taking that philosophy and putting it on the site dumper, and rightly so. The safety issues around site dumpers are significant. So getting that visibility increase and that stability increase really reduces a lot of the common problems that we see in Europe and the UK with the site dumpers.
It seems a no-brainer. It seems painfully obvious. As far as the rotation, it's a full 180 degrees, isn't it?
Yep. So actually the cab we can do 235 degrees.
Wow.
So we go forwards to the back and then around further. So we can look left and right when no matter what side we're tipping. The skip is 180 degrees, so you can tip both sides. And we can have the cab follow the skip. So as we're following around,
right.
There's no need to turn your head to see what you're doing and peering over. It's putting the nice big window right in front of you. So especially if you're working around other people on the work site, wherever you're moving or doing work, you're looking at it. So that's the big push. And it's taken a while to get the concept from paper to a product, but just trying to get it right. And it's the same in Australia. We have plenty of orders for the product. It's a fantastic product. We are just not rushing just yet on delivering a heap of them. We've got the first machines in the market being tested at the moment, and the feedback so far is fantastic. They're in production for Europe at the moment, but yeah, we just want to make sure everything's right before we bring them in big numbers. So yeah, later on in the year we'll have more supply. So the pre-orders that are already in place will be supplied throughout the end of this year, and then as we move on with few more orders, we will fill them until we're at a point where we've got some stock, and hoping to have excess stock for early next year at this stage. But like I say, these are out getting used at the moment, and used the Australian way as we do.
Yep.
A little harder than maybe what they do in Europe.
Yep.
So we're just making sure we got everything right. But we've done a really good job. The team back in the factory have put a lot of effort into getting it right, and even the software, just the ability, you just step in the cabin, it all makes sense. You don't even really need much training. It just, wherever you push the button and it goes, it's a pleasure to drive.
I'm not taking away from how hard you work, but I think it's a pretty easy sell. And again, I'm not taking away from the offerings that have been around before, but you've got the Mecalac brand is well established and well respected. It's a high-end product, with the MCRs and the other machines. And now this, if you're in the market, it's got all the high-end components and at the same price. I'm sold. You sold me on the
problems.
MCR.
When do you want it?
Yeah, well, so when can I get one? How do I get one?
Yeah, so pre-orders taking them at the moment. So we have a nice list of pre-orders for guys that are committed even a year or two ago. Some guys saw these products in prototype over in some European shows and called up and said, I want one. So we've got a few fleets getting replenished with these over for the rest of this year, and we're hoping to deliver any new orders early into next year at the moment. So these machines are just in the pre-production testing at the moment. We make sure we're happy with it, so we're not going to release it until we're happy. We're not unhappy at the moment, but we want to get a few good hours on a few of them in Australian conditions to be sure first, and then yeah, early next year into the market. But to register the interest, it's first in with a pre-order for first supply. So if you're interested in the machine, get in contact with us, and we can talk you through the different options, sizes, and lead time. And we just take a small deposit and give you a serial number and keep you up to date as we're going.
Have you got demo machines that people can see around the country, or how do we?
Not yet, so we will have demo machines. The demo machines will be once we get the stock supply, so we want to make sure that they're full production machines. So later on in the year, we will definitely have demo models dotted around the country at our different dealers for sure.
Yeah, which isn't far away. It's scary, but we're at the halfway through the year now, a little bit past it.
Yeah, it's only a few months away. Yeah, we're June, we're almost July now, so 3 months and there'll be Christmas decorations everywhere.
Crazy.
So it's coming quick. So yeah, we're working quite hard at the moment to ramp the production up in the factory. Obviously, the demand for these are not just Australia. It's quite an impressive machine in most countries. So we got to balance that as well. But we're definitely getting a step ahead of that with our pre-production testing at the moment, and making any little modifications that we think. And yeah, by Christmas we should have a fleet of them ready to go.
Mega. So is it up on the website? It's I appreciate getting
Mecalac.com.au, Revotruck, and YouTube, Instagram. We have a heap of videos everywhere, and more and more as we're testing more, and we'll take you for a walk through our testing process as well. Everything is being recorded and edited and promoted, and really have a look on the inside of the machine as we get them out into the market, and customers' feedback on how it works for them in their business. So hoping to get a lot of that footage up for customers to see other people enjoying it.
Yeah, please keep me posted. I'd love to talk to one of the customers. Where are the pre-orders? Where are they going? They're going around the country, or mainly in WA?
We've got a fleet up to Queensland, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth. We're pre-delivering them into Perth at the moment, and Queensland. This one behind us is off to Queensland later on in the week, and that will be getting put through its paces before the rest of the fleet joins it. So yeah, we'll get you in touch with the guys up in Queensland to have a good chat with them and get their feedback, and it'd be really looking forward to that one. That's going straight into a fleet of other dumpers and head to head with what else is in the market, and be great to really showcase that and get the customer feedback. Yeah,
I'm getting ahead of myself. Like, for the moment, this is what I wanted to see, and I'm really appreciative of your time. Of course, Mecalac.
All good, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, Mecalac.com.au. I know you mentioned it before, to check it out. And yeah, I'm going to be harassing you more about this thing. I'm pretty excited about it. So
look forward to it.
Really, really appreciate your time, and the little line dancing demo. I need to put some country music over that or something when you're doing it. So and great seeing you again, Phil. It's always good speaking.
Good to see you, mate. Keep in touch.
Thank you so much. Speak soon.
Cheers.